All right, today we're going to decode something pretty fascinating, how a president can use pure economic muscle to tackle a massive public health crisis. We're breaking down Executive Order 14228, a document that takes aim at the global drug trade using one of the oldest tools there is, a tariff. So, let's dive right in.
So it really all boils down to this question, right? In our super complex world of international politics and health emergencies, how can a single piece of paper, just one signature, actually try to change the game? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack.
The document we're zeroing in on was signed on March 3, 2025. You can think of it as a targeted strike, a really direct action aimed at a very specific problem. So, what does it actually say, and more importantly, why should you care?
Okay, first up, an extraordinary threat. See, every executive order has to start with a justification. It has to lay out why this action is even necessary. And in this case, the language they use, it's really strong.
Just look at that wording, unusual and extraordinary threat. Now that's not just some fancy political jargon. It's a legal trigger. That exact phrase is what gives the president the authority to act under some very specific laws. So what is this so-called extraordinary threat?
Well, the order is crystal clear on this. The threat is the non-stop flow of synthetic opioids, and it specifically calls out fentanyl coming from the People's Republic of China. That's the crisis. That's the problem the executive branch decided it had to do something about.
And here's the legal engine that makes it all possible. The International Emergency Economic Powers Act, or IEEPA. This thing is a seriously powerful tool. Once a president declares a national emergency because of a foreign threat, IEEPA lets them regulate international commerce. It's been used for everything from sanctions to freezing assets. And in this case, it's the legal foundation for the tariff.
So, we get the why. Now let's look at the what. Section 2, the tariff is doubled. This is the core action of the entire order.
Now, it is absolutely crucial to understand that this order doesn't create a new policy out of thin air. It's a dramatic escalation. The president is taking a tariff that was already on the books and just cranking the pressure way up.
The change is just simple and stark. The tariff, which is basically a tax on the value of goods, is being doubled from 10% to 20%. I mean, the order literally just says to strike 10% and insert 20%. It's a very clear, very direct message of increased economic pressure.
20%. That's the new number. Seeing it on its own like this, you can really feel the weight of that change. Doubling a tariff is a major move in international trade and diplomacy.
So, naturally, that leads to the big question. Why now? Why double the tariff at this specific moment? Well, Section 3, the reason for action, gives us the official answer.
The text is pretty blunt about it. The White House is officially stating that the PRC's government just hasn't done enough to help stop the flow of these drugs. The crisis is still going on, so the U.S. is dialing up the economic consequences.
And this timeline is really key to the whole story. Just look at how fast all this happened. February 1st, the emergency is declared, and the 10% tariff is set. Just a few days later, there's an amendment. And then, less than a month after that, they double the tariff. This isn't some slow-moving policy. It's a rapid escalation, which really suggests a sense of urgency and maybe even a little frustration coming from the White House.
And finally, let's get into the fine print. Section 4. What does it all mean? You know, almost every executive order has a section at the end called General Provisions. This is where they spell out the legal boundaries, and it's super important for understanding what the order is actually trying to do.
These 2 points are basically the legal guardrails. First, it makes clear that it's not stepping on the toes of any other government agencies. Second, and this is a big one, it doesn't create any new rights that a person or a company could go to court and sue over. This is a directive for the government, not a new law for the public.
So, when you put it all together, the big takeaway is this. This executive order is using emergency powers as a focused economic tool. It's an instrument of foreign policy, pure and simple. It's designed to pressure another country to act on a public health crisis, all while staying inside some very carefully drawn legal lines.
And that leaves us with one last really crucial question to chew on. This order mixes economics, foreign policy, and public health all into one. So what happens when a tool that was designed for trade disputes gets used to fight a drug epidemic? What kind of new challenges or maybe unintended consequences could pop up? That's definitely something to think about. Thanks so much for watching.